Welcome to Unstoppable, where dreams turn into plans and plans turn into powerful action. Hosted by Paula Swain, financial planner, business owner, grandma, and queen of reinvention. This show is for women ready to stop surviving and start thriving. We'll laugh, we'll learn, and we'll tackle the messy, beautiful, in-between parts of life that no one really talks about, but we all live through. This is Unstoppable.
Hello and welcome to Unstoppable. I am the guest host today because I'm putting our normal host, Paula Swain, on the spot, asking her all of the questions that are probably on top of your mind when it comes to finances. So today we're going to be talking about QCDs, or Qualified Charitable Distributions. Which is a mouthful, right? I actually learned about these from Paula, and I work with a lot of nonprofits, so I'm really excited to talk more about QCDs, why you would do that, and what they are. So let's go ahead and get started. Paula, thank you so much for inviting me to come here and put you on the spot today.
You know me, I love to be on the spot.
So, all right, QCDs, Qualified Charitable Distributions.
Perfectly said.
What are they?
So once you reach the age of 70, you have the ability to take money out of an IRA, a traditional IRA, and have that money go to charity. Okay, so it just has to go from Kendra's IRA directly to the charity. It cannot go to Kendra, but it can go from Kendra to the charity. Okay. And when you make that distribution, normal distribution is 100% taxable, correct?
Yes.
So when you make that distribution directly to the charity, I'm going to keep saying that, directly to the charity.
The check does not pass go, okay? It does not end up in your mailbox. It goes directly to the charity.
And made payable to the charity, then that money is not taxable to you.
Okay. So, but I earned that money. Why would I want to give all of that money, right? Because some of these distributions from your IRA can be pretty significant. Why would I want to do something like this?
Well, first of all, you don't have to give all of it. You can just give a portion of it. So let's say your distribution was $10,000. You could give $1,000 to your church. And what I tell clients is, are you giving to your church or any other organization on a regular basis? Most of the time they say yes. Well, instead of writing the check yourself, let's have the IRA write the check for you. And then it meets your required minimum distribution. And then it's not taxable to you. Because most clients, when they get to be up to age 70, typically when they're retired, they're not itemizing. So they're really not taking charitable distributions unless they're really giving a lot to charity. So they're not able to write their charitable contributions off. So this gives them a way to give to charity, which they're already doing, in a way that also makes it not taxable income.
Which I think is a fantastic idea, because it makes a big difference for the nonprofits that receive these QCDs, or Qualified Charitable Distributions, because sometimes you can afford to give just a little bit more because it isn't going to be taxed, which is nice to do.
Well, also, you may not even need the money. There are a lot of people out there that are retired that when their RMDs come, they're like, I don't want to take that money. I don't want to be forced to take the money. And you're forced to take your required minimum distribution or your RMD. So why not give it to charity? If you don't need it, why not give it to charity?
So let's talk about RMDs. So RMDs are required minimum distributions. Why are we required minimum distributions?
Because the IRS said so. That's the only answer I can give, that the IRS said so.
There's only two sure things, right? Death and taxes.
Yes.
And this one makes sure you get taxed.
Yes. So you've saved all this money. You've put into your 401k or your IRA. Not Roth. We're not talking about Roth. We're just talking about traditional forms of retirement savings. So you've saved all that money. You didn't pay the taxes in the beginning. You didn't pay the taxes on the growth. You've accumulated all this money. And the IRS wants their cut now. They're going to say, hey, we've allowed you to accumulate all this money. tax deferred, but now we're going to make you take it out. Because if they didn't, think about it. If it was my IRA, I passed it down to you. You didn't have to pay. You know what I mean? You didn't have to pay. Take it out. You could pass it down from generation to generation, but they want their tax money.
Yes. So, all right. So let me ask this question. So a lot of people do pass down their IRAs even now, right? Even if they don't make it to the age where they use it all up, right? With their required minimum distributions. Can you do this same thing with an IRA if it was like gifted to you and you're in your 40s or 50s? Could you do a qualified charitable distribution even if it's not part of your RMD and go straight there?
You have to be over the age of 70.
Okay. So you do have to be retired. Good to know,
Well,
right?
just over the age of 70.
Okay. Oh, okay. Why 70? I thought the required minimum distributions started later than that.
Requirement distributions start at 73, but the QCDs, qualified charitable distribution, I feel like I need to say it now, although you say it so much better than me, so much slower, you can start at age 70.
Okay. Well, I think that's a really good opportunity for people to be able to start that earlier and get the benefit of making a difference in the community with their distribution. Now, for it to be a qualified charity, does it have to be a 501c3 or it can be any tax? Like I think there's a bunch of different codes like 504QB or something. I don't know. I always forget what all these ones are.
To be the answer to that, I don't know. I didn't know there was other ones than 503.
501c3s.
501c3s.
Okay.
So I don't really know the answer to that.
Probably most likely needs to be a 501c3. And
Yeah, it just needs to be a qualified charity.
Okay. All right. Awesome.
I can become a qualified charity. You want to? You want
Okay.
to go on that
So
one with me?
let me ask this question. Why would I do that instead of setting up? There's these funds that you can create, right? And it's a
Donor advised.
donor advised fund. Thank you. So if why wouldn't I like take my distributions and put it in a donor advised fund and be able to give out of that over time?
It's an option.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's plenty of different options. First of all, the donor advised fund doesn't have an age restriction, so you can contribute to that at any age, right? Ultimately, it just goes depend on what your goals are.
Well, and the donor advised funds, the funds that you put in there would have been taxed, right? So even though you get the charitable contribution reduction on your taxes if you itemize.
But if you withdrew it from your IRA, it would be taxable.
It would be taxable. So this is really the only way around getting that
money to charity without paying taxes.
Without having to pay taxes on it, which again gives, I think, the charities more. So when people are planning, right, so for the year, when are they usually taking their required minimum distributions?
Well, as an advisor, I encourage you to take them early because we don't want to forget. So lots of times people have it scheduled already.
Okay.
So they may already say that, January 15th, my requirement distribution is coming out. So they schedule it so that they don't forget, because you don't want to forget because there's a penalty for forgetting. And the penalty changed. I think it's like 25% now, but it used to be 50. I don't really worry about it because I make sure my clients take it before the end of the year. And you have till the end of December 31st. But I tell my clients too, if you're going to do the QCD, we take that first. We take the QCD first. So if you had $10,000 was your RMD, you wanted to take $5,000 and give it to St. Jude or something, we would have that come out first, and then we would take the rest of your RMD out after. There's no reason for it. I just want to make sure that it gets done first.
That it gets done.
But I'd really like to have all my RMDs done by the end of March, because then it would make me feel at ease as the advisor. But every client is different.
Okay, so let's talk about other reasons that you might want to take your RMD and give it to charity, right? So we talked a little bit about taxes, but it's even bigger than that, right? I mean, because yes, I mean, if you hit a certain amount, doesn't your Social Security get taxed more? Doesn't it change your Medicaid? She didn't know where I was going with this.
I'm like, where is she going with this question? I'm like,
all these things I've learned.
I hope I know the answer.
I learned this from you, so I think you know the answer.
Yes. Well, really, everything comes into building a plan from when you're in your 50s to what is my retirement income strategies and tax strategies going to look like. And there are things that the more income you have, the more your Social Security is going to be taxable, because up to 85% of your Social Security is taxable, and it's based on income thresholds, which aren't very high. So likely that's going to happen. Also, if you you have your RMD, one, you may not need it. So now you've got to pay taxes on something that you don't need, and then maybe reinvest that somewhere down the road. But I'm losing my thought for this second, where I was going to go with after this. There's Medicare issues. So if you have, Medicare has brackets like anything else. So there's a single bracket, a married, filing jointly bracket. And if you go over that bracket, because you had to take an RMD that pushed you over there, then your Medicare premiums go up, and it is a significant number.
So, all right. So if you go over, it's going to potentially affect how your Social Security is taxed. It's going to potentially affect how your Medicare is taxed. But the Medicare premium is taxed. Thank you.
No tax. Medicare premium.
Oh, your Medicare premium changes. Okay,
yes. If you're over 65 and your income goes over a certain level, then it will affect your Medicare premium.
Okay.
Significantly. It's a big number. Don't ask me to quote the numbers off the top of my head.
They change though, don't they? Too?
Every year.
So we're good. We're not quoting anything.
Yeah. I learn them and then I let them go.
That's good. Okay. So, I mean, this can have serious ramifications in your whole financial plan.
Correct. From
tax planning to just your ability to stay in retirement and really live your best life. So I think that there's a lot to think about when it comes to that. Okay, so when you meet with somebody, and let's just say they're talking about taking their RMD, how far in advance are you guys talking about whether or not QCDs are for them, are options for them, if that should be something that they're going after or looking at? When do you start that conversation?
After the plan has been built and I can see like how we're pulling income from when we're taking Social Security, what expenses we need, what those RMDs are going to look in the future. Not only I'm concerned about what those RMDs look in the future, not necessarily just for QCDs. It could be, do I want to delay Social Security because I'm going to live off my IRA in the beginning and delay my Social Security, which will lower my RMD balance, increase my Social Security, technically guaranteed income, right? So in doing that, I'm going to give myself a higher income guaranteed. I'm going to lower this bracket, the IRA balance, so then when I take my RMDs later on, I'm managing that tax bracket and trying to manage all the things, because only half of your Social Security is potentially taxable. So, there's a lot of factors, or only half of your Social Security gets put into the calculation. Up to 85% is taxable. It's like all these numbers in your head. But, but when you're looking at the whole picture, we can look at tax strategies. And then we might say, okay, well, first of all, we don't know when you're 55 what your balance is going to look like. But what we have to do is take today's numbers. So if I'm looking out and I'm going to like, wow, when we have to start taking RMDs, you're going to jump into the next tax bracket. How do we handle that today? How do we forward think? And that's where the decisions would come. Well, maybe we delay Social Security, start using IRA money earlier, and bring that RMD down. Mm-hmm. Or, when we get out there, if you have some favorite charities, that will also help. So nobody's committing early on that they're going to do that, but it's just a conversation that we have.
Are you seeing more people do things like QCDs rather than like leave money in their estates or anything like that? Because
I wish I could say yes, but no, because I bring it up every time, every time. And I don't know if it's just, my client base, but some people just, it isn't their norm to give to charity. So when I bring it up, it's my first question, do you give to charity? Because we've got these RMDs coming up, are you giving to charity? And let people just say no, they're just not interested. So that ends that conversation. I'll explain it still and say, well, but this is what effect it could have,
Well, this is the benefit it could have for you, right?
The effect tax-wise.
Yeah.
Let's throw it in their pocketbook. I'm going to save you on taxes. Or if you just give a little bit to charity.
Okay.
Sometimes they do it. Sometimes they don't. But not in my control.
Yes, because I think, back in the olden days, people used to put charities in their will or their estate, right? And they would mention a number or a percentage, and that would get it. I've worked with a couple of different nonprofits that get some pretty big checks because they said, oh, give X percent to, the Humane Society of Macomb or a Courageous Voice or any of these nonprofits. And it's pretty interesting because sometimes it's like $300,000 and it was like...
Sometimes it's millions.
Yeah. And it was like, that was only, 5% of their estate. They had no idea their estate was going to be the size that it ended up being, right? When they wrote that in their will.
Well, that's true. When you look at, so if I was to sit down with you and your husband today, and let's say you had $1 million, and based on your lifestyle, we really didn't need to be touching your money, and we could look out 20 or 30 years from now, and that number might be $4 million, and you never expected. Yes. But 20 or 30 years from now, I know you're a lot younger than I am. In your case, it might be 40 or 50 years from now, but that's a substantial number. It really is. And that comes up to a whole other conversation is like, Kendra, look, you're going to have X. How are you going to transfer that to whoever you want? Because I'm going to assume that you're going to live that long, right? So how do we transfer that? What tools can we put in today to make sure that gets transferred tax-wise most efficiently and to who you want it to? And that's a whole other conversation, and people don't realize how money grows and compounds, and that $1 million today in 20 years could be easily $4 million.
Wow. So have you noticed any generational differences in how people are giving or not giving when it comes to their estate planning or financial planning and retirement planning? Are people asking to put more away for anything other than family?
I think it's something that either you did prior to that, or it's not something somebody just wakes up when they're 72 years old and just says, I'm going to give to charity. I do see a lot of more going to charity when somebody is don't have how do I say this, like immediate heirs, like maybe they never had children, and maybe they have one or two nieces or nephews. They might see them give a portion to their niece and nephew and the larger portion to charity. But those people already have a charitable mind. They already are giving.
Okay.
I've had some people say, oh, that's a great idea, Paula. I don't give it to charity, but I will, just because it's going to save me from part of my income going into the next tax bracket. But I think everybody should give to charity, really, even if it's just a tiny bit.
So let's talk about how you give back, right? You donate time and energy to
and money.
money to a lot of different things. What are some of your favorite types of causes? You don't have to say the organization, but at least like what kinds of causes do you like to support?
Well, I do support, I've said it before, so it's not going to be too hard. It's not like I'm hiding it, but I do support Grace Centers for Hope, and I work in their kitchen serving meals. I really like doing that. I learned how to hang a door through Habitat Through Humanity. I learned how to cut and lay tile through Habitat Through Humanity. I have helped out at Haven Homes. Mm-hmm. I've wrapped Christmas gifts for foster children, and I do anything that I can find. And in order for me to do it, I actually have to schedule it. Because if I don't schedule it, time goes. And then I also sponsor, charitable events, like I'll buy a table for a women's fashion show or bring some friends and stuff like that. So I try to do, also I've done work for survivors of human trafficking.
Yeah.
So,
big stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Such important charities and such important organizations that really benefit not just from your money, but your time. So let's talk about what it feels like.
You know what I just did?
Ooh, yeah.
So it's an organization called Compassion, and they were sponsoring children, $43 a month. I can afford $43 a month. And so what I did is I went through and picked, I wish I wouldn't have been so spontaneous about it because I would have done it a different way, but I went and picked a child that was the age of every one of my grandchildren and sponsored. So I picked 4. I've got another one coming in November, so we'll take care of that one. I wish I would have been able to, and I didn't realize this till later, they could have actually put their birth date so that they would have had a child that was born on their birthday. I think that would have been so much cooler, but I didn't think things through at the moment. I do a lot of spontaneous things. Anyway, so now they're writing back and forth to each other.
Oh, wow.
So it's so cute.
Well, and I think that teaches them, too, about other cultures, about other ways of life, and that not everybody is as well off as they are, right? I mean, that's, it teaches kids a lot doing that. So I teach college, as you know, so I teach a corporate social responsibility class, and we talk about the triple bottom line of
Well, that sounds like
profit, people, and planet. And you fulfill that, personally, right? So you're all about balancing and making sure that people and the planet are balanced in with profit and what you need to live, right? So let's talk about how that makes you feel.
me.
Right? Yeah. When you volunteer at Grace Centers of Hope in the kitchen, or you do an activity for survivors of human trafficking, like after that, how do you feel? My students had to write a reflection on a day of service that they recently did.
Well, every experience has been different. Let's go to that. When I volunteered for Habitat for Humanity and was learning how to cut and lay tile. I mean, I was just so proud of myself. I made mistakes, but that was okay. And you have to be very careful because you got limited product, right? Mm-hmm. So, but I remembered what I was told from my ex-husband: measure twice, cut once. So I was really just thrilled about learning that trade, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word. Hoping one day that I was going to be able to take it and use it myself, but nah, I'll pass. But anyway, and I got to meet some wonderful people, some really nice other volunteers. I felt really good when I went home. I felt I was dirty, but and it was hot, but I felt like I'd really accomplished something that day. And when I go to Grace and I work in the kitchen, I've gotten to know the guys there. But they come and go because they're in the program. So really, as soon as I really get to know someone, they're exiting out of the program. But, you know, they know my name. They're happy to see me. They're, you know, they want to know what's going on in my life. And every guy that I give a plate to, they're like, thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. And how can you not feel anything when everybody's telling you, it's great to see you and thank you for being here? It's really a cool experience.
Well, and I think that there's so much, right? It's beyond giving a check. It's beyond the, you know, the qualified charitable distributions. Giving your time is really valuable to these organizations because they are able to save and run off of volunteers instead of full-time staff, right? It's just, there's so many amazing organizations out there that you can give your time to. So it goes beyond your church. For a lot of people. And I think, you know, as people, we need to be doing more of what you're doing.
Oh, I'd agree 100%.
But
you have to have that. You have to want to do it. And sometimes it just takes going. And I think the biggest reason a lot of people don't do things is fear. Like, what if I go there? I don't know what to do. I'm not going to know anybody. I got to walk in the building by myself. So can you imagine me walking into a men's shelter by myself? You know, they're like, make sure you don't wear this and you have this and, you know, and I'm like, okay, I got to wear a baseball cap? Really not happening. I took it with me. I'm like, really? Do I have to wear this baseball cap? You know, I'm like, I don't want to wear this baseball cap. And they don't make me wear it. But I had to walk into that building. I didn't know anything or at all what I was walking into. And it was a little nervous. But they were so warm and welcoming that I'm excited when I do get to go.
Wow. Okay. So one of the biggest and best pieces of advice that I was ever given in my career was, if you're not getting the experience for the job you want in the job you have, volunteer.
That is
And
great
so
advice.
I actually was able to, I volunteered even when I worked back at the day in Chrysler. I actually worked and volunteered for the Women's Forum, right? Extracurricular activity. Yes, it was work related. It wasn't a 501c3 by any stretch of anyone's imagination. But I volunteered and was able to showcase a portfolio that got me into marketing, right? And that was a long, long time ago. But it really, there's a lot more benefits to giving of your time and your energy. How do you find the opportunities that you do? Because you said get scheduled, right? Because what gets scheduled gets done.
Right. I just had to do research. And then I asked friends, where are you volunteering? What are you doing? So now when one of us volunteers will reach out and say, hey, I'm doing this. Anybody want to join? So it's helped. But we did a show, a couple months ago on the art of volunteering with Stormy Bell, which, by the way, I just love her name, Stormy Bell. And she has some great ideas. And she said, even if you're not like actually volunteering for a charity, it's what you can do to just volunteer in your community. If it's taking a neighbor a meal or, you know, something like that, that all of those things, they're not the traditional form of what we think volunteering is, but it's just giving back to your community.
Well, I love that you give back. I love that we're kicking off the year talking about giving back, because there is just, it's so important really to give back, right? So many of us are so fortunate, and there's so many people that aren't quite as fortunate as we are. And to be able to share that gift with them of our time, talent, and treasure is just so important.
Well, I think that in saying that is, you don't give back to receive. But if you give back, you will receive. And even if what you're receiving is just a warm smile that says thank you.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of value there. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Unstoppable. I am your guest host today, Kendra Corman, and I thank Paula Swain, our normal host, who helps us dream, grow, and thrive on a regular basis. I appreciate the fact that she allowed me some time to ask her some questions about qualified charitable distributions and really just ultimately giving back.
And I think you might be better at this than I am.
You're funny. doesn't matter quite so much for me. I'm like, this is your show. All right. So thank you for giving me the mic and your time. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I hope you tune in again next week. We'll have related information down in the description. So be sure to check those out, including the episode on the art of volunteering with Stormy Bell.
Thanks for watching Unstoppable. Do you have a question for Paula? Send it our way. To schedule a one-on-one consultation, give us a call. Unstoppable is brought to you by Paula Swain and the Financial Center for Women. Dream, grow, thrive.